Welcome to another episode on Cheating Tales Lab. We're so happy to have you here, and today's story is one we think you'll really enjoy. So without further ado, let's begin. I paused for a moment, trying to lean casually against the stone-tiled column, watching the holiday crowd as carefully as I could without being obvious. Clueless, they streamed by me intent on their shopping, flavored coffees, and apparently endless streams of text messages. The familiar weight of my concealed sidearm pressed against my ribs, a comforting presence after weeks in Dubai, where I'd had to rely solely on my wits and hand-to-hand skills. Not that those skills had atrophied, if anything. The high-stakes cybersecurity job had honed my situational awareness to a razor's edge. I made it another 6 feet and managed to sit at one of the mall food court tables. I pulled a leftover soda cup in front of me, so it looked like I had a reason to sit here. Any reason other than finding a quiet place to process what I just learned. The cold fury coursing through my veins made it hard to keep still, but years of training allowed me to maintain an outwardly calm facade. Everything had gone wrong, but I'd left at least one of them dead for sure. Probably two. My wife, Veronica, and her lover, Jonathan Blackwell, the notorious arms dealer known as the Phantom. Just thinking their names made my jaw clench. Somebody must have forgotten I'd been a Navy SEAL for years before climbing the ladder in the cybersecurity world. I'd been a damn good one. I'd left more than my share of enemies dead in my career, and now it looked like I might have to add 2 more to that tally. If they really were trying to kill me, they'd been sloppy. They had to have been. Arms dealers and their lackeys don't usually start shooting without identifying themselves. Certainly not at a former Navy SEAL turned cybersecurity specialist. I fumbled out the cheap pay-by-the-minute smartphone I'd managed to buy at the kiosk. I didn't think the guy had really bought my story about a computer crash at my bank, but $200 in cash had gotten me an anonymous phone in 3 hours of time. He'd probably reported up his chain, and I didn't blame him. He could sense something was off, and I doubted an obviously recent immigrant from the Middle East wanted to get caught up in anything suspicious. Let him call. It didn't matter. The 3 hours of talk time I'd purchased were probably too much. I doubted this would take even half of it. I fumbled with my wallet, pulling out a scrap of a business card, then punched the number into the phone. K2 Executive Services. A curt, clipped woman's voice. I kept my voice as calm and level as possible. I need help. My wife is trying to kill me and... A click sounded as the phone cut off. Bitch. I slumped and closed my eyes. Damn it. I couldn't even think of where to go next. This was probably it. I was going to have to take them both out myself. Consequences be damned. My phone buzzed in my hand. A text from an unknown number. All it had was an internet link. Nothing to lose. I went ahead and pressed it, and the phone promptly replied with downloading app. A long few seconds later, an icon appeared on the phone, an icon of a stylized K2. I pressed it, and the phone dialed. K2 Executive Services. The voice sounded muffled and odd, like the speaker was underwater. A scrambler code of some kind. Please hold your phone at arm's length and look into the screen. I followed the instructions and watched the screen pulse as the phone took my picture. It flashed the image on the screen for a moment, not particularly flattering. My complexion was pretty gray, but then that was probably shock and barely suppressed rage. Almost instantly, the woman on the other end spoke again. Name, please. Dominic Thorne. There was a slight pause. I got the distinct and uncomfortable impression she was checking my credit score. Your operational status? Armed, uninjured, but in need of immediate assistance. What is the nature of your situation? My wife is involved with an arms dealer named Jonathan Blackwell. They've been selling classified information I had access to. I need to neutralize the threat. Please hold. The damn thing actually began playing hold music. The girl from Ipanema of all damn things. I stared at the phone in disbelief for a moment. Then the voice came back. Thank you for waiting. We have an asset available in your area. Move to the south entrance of the mall and wait near the men's restroom. The contractor will arrive within 30 minutes. I may not have 30 minutes. They could be closing in as we speak. The contractor will arrange for immediate extraction if the situation escalates. Do you require medical assistance? Negative. I'm combat ready. The line clicked with grim finality. I pushed myself off the table and began to walk as carefully as I could. Try to look casual, look like another busy holiday shopper. The south entrance was over a quarter-mile away through the mall. As I turned out of the food court, I glanced back and saw no sign of pursuit. Good. I had a head start, but I knew better than to let my guard down. Clothing stores, shoe stores, and restaurants crawled by as I worked my way along the edge of the crowds. It took nearly 20 minutes, and I almost made it. I could see the sign for the restroom and was almost shaking with anticipation when I felt a hand grip my right elbow tightly. A couple herded 4 kids in bulky, bright coats past me, using promises of hot chocolate to keep them in line. Keep moving, Mr. Thorne. There was an ever-so-slight accent. Eastern Europe, maybe. Maybe Russian. I looked over at him. Very nice black suit, black wool overcoat. Even if I ignored the accent, he didn't feel like one of Blackwell's thugs. He let me see he was holding a subcompact automatic on me from inside his coat. It took me a moment, but then I remembered seeing him during the ambush outside my house. It's Dominic. Very well. Dominic, please keep moving. I'd rather not do this here in front of all these children, but I will if you force me to. He fell silent as we passed a teenage girl, pipe cleaner skinny in a dark coat with a bright purple backpack, hair tucked up under a light purple crew cap, obliviously texting away on her phone. You guys caught up faster than I thought you would. Facial recognition programs and the security software for the bridge cameras. We placed it in this area months ago for another operation. It was blind luck that it was still in place, and I just happened to be moving in this direction. I found your vehicle in the parking lot. I watched another family struggle past. The 2 kids were just out of toddler stage and had clearly reached breaking point. Even if I were in better shape and armed, there were way too many innocent bystanders around. Lucky me. He shrugged eloquently. Those are the breaks. He seemed awful polite for a hired killer. I was just too wary to make a move yet. He guided me into the utility hallway opposite the bathroom, and we walked down it until we reached a corner. I was out of time. He pushed me around the corner and brought his gun out. A sound like a dull, heavy bell rang through the tile-lined corridor. He took a single staggering step forward, then collapsed in a heap. The girl in the light purple crew cap stood behind him, holding an almost comically large crescent wrench. Poised for another swing, face expressionless, she looked at me, then down at him, easily balancing the wrench across her skinny shoulder. Crouching, she checked his breathing and pupil dilation mechanically, then picked up the gun. She cleared it with casual proficiency, tucking it and her wrench into her backpack. Almost as an afterthought, she pulled his wallet from his coat and stuck it in a silvery envelope. A moment later, she pulled the battery from his cell phone and dropped it into a trash can. Then the phone joined his wallet in the envelope. She stood and held her hand out with a stony expression. Come with me if you want to live. I just stared at her until she smirked, eyes glittering. Fuck, I've always wanted to say that. Let's see the damage. Any injuries? No injuries. Just a burning desire for payback. I replied, my voice cold and steady. She reached into her backpack and pulled out a small first aid kit. Good. We might need you at full capacity. I'm your K2 contact. Call me Delaney. Pleasure. Now, can we get the hell out of here before more of Blackwell's goons show up? She nodded, a grim smile playing at the corners of her mouth. Oh, we're going to do more than that. We're going to take the fight to them. As we made our way out of the mall, I filled Delaney in on the details of my situation. The betrayal by Veronica, the classified information being sold to Blackwell, the attempt on my life. With each revelation, I could see a cold fury building in Delaney's eyes that matched my own. "So, what's the plan?" she asked as we reached a nondescript sedan in the parking garage. I slid into the passenger seat, my mind already racing with possibilities. First, we need to secure any remaining evidence. I have a hidden office at home with all the data I've collected on their operation. Then, we take the fight to them. No mercy, no quarter given. Delaney's grin was feral as she started the car. "I like the way you think, Dominic. Let's make these bastards regret the day they crossed you." As we pulled out of the parking garage, I felt a cold sense of purpose settle over me. Veronica and Blackwell had made a grave mistake in underestimating me. Now, they would pay the price, and I wouldn't rest until justice, my kind of justice, was served. The drive to my house was tense, every shadow potentially concealing an enemy. But Delaney's driving was impeccable, her situational awareness clearly honed by years of covert operations. As we pulled onto my street, I spotted the sleek Aston Martin still parked in the driveway. "Nice car," I remarked, my voice dripping with sarcasm. Delaney's eyes narrowed. "Gift from a friend. I take it?" I nodded, jaw clenching. "Veronica's new toy from Blackwell. Guess he likes to keep his assets happy." We parked a block away and approached the house on foot, using the cover of darkness and neighboring properties to mask our approach. As we neared, I could see Veronica through the living room window, pacing nervously, phone pressed to her ear. "Looks like someone's getting antsy," Delaney murmured. "What's our play?" I considered our options for a moment. "We need that evidence. I'll create a distraction, draw her out. You slip in and secure the data from my office. It's behind a hidden panel in the study, third bookshelf from the left. War and Peace is the trigger." Delaney nodded, her expression serious. "And if she gets in my way, do what you have to do." I replied, my voice cold. "But leave her breathing. I want answers before this is over." With a silent nod, Delaney melted into the shadows, circling around to the back of the house. I took a deep breath, steeling myself for the confrontation to come. Then, with deliberate steps, I strode up to the front door and rang the doorbell. The look of shock on Veronica's face when she opened the door was almost comical. "Dominic? But how?" I pushed past her into the house, my eyes scanning for immediate threats. "Surprised to see me alive, darling? Sorry to disappoint." Veronica's shock quickly morphed into a mask of concern. "Dominic, thank God you're all right. I've been so worried. When I heard about the attack, Save it." I cut her off, my voice like ice. "I know everything, Veronica. About Blackwell. About the classified intel you've been selling. Did you really think you could keep this from me?" Her face paled, the facade crumbling. "You don't understand, Dominic. It's not what you think. Jonathan? I spat the name like a curse. First name basis with the arms dealer now, are we? How thoughtful of him to buy you that new car. I'm sure it wasn't payment for betraying your country and your husband." Veronica's eyes darted around the room, looking for an escape. "Please, just let me explain. You're in danger, Dominic. Jonathan has resources you can't even imagine." I took a step closer, my voice low and dangerous. "I've faced worse, and I'm not alone in this." A flicker of fear crossed Veronica's face. "What do you mean?" Before I could answer, a muffled thud came from upstairs. Veronica's head snapped towards the sound. "What was that? Is someone else here?" I grabbed her arm, preventing her from investigating. "Doesn't matter. You're not going anywhere, Veronica. It's time you face the consequences of your actions." As if on cue, Delaney appeared at the top of the stairs, a small hard drive clutched in her hand. "Got it. We should move." Veronica's eyes widened in recognition. You're the girl from the mall. Who are you? What are you doing in my house?" Delaney ignored her, addressing me instead. "Perimeter's still clear, but we shouldn't push our luck. What do you want to do with her?" She nodded towards Veronica. I considered for a moment, then made my decision. She's coming with us. Blackwell will be looking for her, and I want to know everything she knows. Dominic, please, Veronica pleaded, her voice trembling. You don't know what you're getting into. Jonathan will kill us all. I tightened my grip on her arm. He can try. But first, you're going to tell us everything. Every detail, every contact, every dirty little secret. And God help you if I think you're lying. As we hustled Veronica out to the car, I could see the reality of her situation finally sinking in. The woman I had loved, the life we had built together, it was all a lie. But I pushed aside any lingering sentiment. There would be time for regrets later. Right now, I had a mission to complete and a score to settle. Delaney took the wheel again, navigating us smoothly through the quiet suburban streets. In the back seat, Veronica sat silent, her face a mask of fear and resignation. I kept my eyes on the road behind us, watching for any sign of pursuit. Where are we going? Veronica finally asked, her voice barely above a whisper. Somewhere safe, I replied, not bothering to look at her. Somewhere Blackwell won't find us until we're ready for him. As the city lights faded behind us, I felt a grim sense of satisfaction. The game had changed, and now I was the one calling the shots. Veronica and Blackwell had no idea what was coming for them, and I intended to keep it that way until it was too late for them to do anything about it. The road stretched out before us, dark and full of promise. Whatever came next, I was ready. They had tried to destroy me, to take everything I had built. Now, it was my turn, and I would show no mercy. I leaned against the wall of the safe house, my eyes never leaving Veronica as she paced a small room like a caged animal. The past 24 hours had been a whirlwind of betrayal, violence, and cold calculation. Now, in the stark light of morning, I could see the toll it had taken on her. Good. Let her feel a fraction of the pain she'd caused. You can't keep me here forever, Dominic, she spat, her earlier pleas for understanding replaced by venom. I didn't bother to respond. Instead, I turned my attention to the array of security monitors I'd set up. The safe house was a fortress, every entrance covered by multiple layers of protection. If Blackwell's men somehow managed to find us, they'd have one hell of a fight on their hands. Delaney's voice crackled over the comm unit. Perimeters clear. No sign of activity within a 5-mile radius. Copy that. I replied, my voice steady. Keep your eyes open. These bastards are slippery. I could feel Veronica's gaze boring into me. When I finally looked at her, the hatred in her eyes was palpable. You have no idea what you're up against, Dominic. Jonathan will find us, and when he does, he'll wish he'd never heard the name Dominic Thorne. I cut her off, my tone ice cold. Your boyfriend made a fatal mistake when he decided to use my wife against me. And you. I let out a harsh laugh. You're even more of a fool for going along with it. Veronica's face contorted with rage. You arrogant bastard. You think you're so much better than everyone else, don't you? Always the big hero, the perfect soldier. Did it ever occur to you that maybe I wanted more than being a trophy wife to a man who cared more about his work than his marriage? I felt a flicker of anger, quickly suppressed. So, you decided to sell out your country? To get in bed with a man who deals in death and suffering? Tell me, Veronica, was it worth it? Was the money, the thrill, worth throwing away everything we built together? For a moment, I saw a crack in her facade, a flicker of doubt in her eyes. But it was gone as quickly as it appeared, replaced by cold defiance. You don't understand, Dominic. Jonathan offered me a chance at real power, not just being window dressing for your career. And the information we sold, it was going to make a difference in the world. I couldn't help but laugh at that. Oh, I'm sure it would have made a difference. More weapons in the hands of serious criminals, more innocent lives destroyed. You're delusional if you think Blackwell cares about anything other than lining his own pockets. Before Veronica could respond, my phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. But I recognized the encryption immediately. My contact in the task force. We have a location on Blackwell. private island off the coast. Major arms deal, going down in 48 hours. I felt a surge of anticipation. This was it, the chance to take down Blackwell and his entire operation in one fell swoop. I looked back at Veronica, a cold smile playing at the corners of my mouth. Looks like your boyfriend's luck is about to run out. Her eyes widened in fear. Dominic, please. You don't have to do this. We can still work something out. I'll tell you everything I know, just don't go after Jonathan. He'll kill you. I stepped closer, my voice low and dangerous. No, Veronica. He'll try, and he'll fail. And when the dust settles, you'll both rot in a cell for the rest of your miserable lives. I turned away, already mentally preparing for the mission ahead. Veronica's pleading voice faded into background noise as I focused on the task at hand. There was no room for hesitation, no place for mercy. Blackwell and his operation had to be dismantled, and I would be the one to do it. Hours passed in a blur of preparation. Weapons were checked and double-checked. Intel was poured over, every detail of Blackwell's compound memorized. The task force assembled, a group of hardened operatives from various agencies, all united in their determination to bring down one of the world's most notorious arms dealers. As night fell, I made one final check of the safe house security. Veronica sat in sullen silence, all fight gone out of her. I felt nothing as I looked at her. The woman I had once loved, now nothing more than a stranger, a traitor to be dealt with. I'm leaving, I said, my voice devoid of emotion. When this is over, the authorities will come for you. I suggest you start thinking about how to save what's left of your miserable life. She looked up at me, her eyes red-rimmed and hollow. Dominic, I'm sorry for everything. I paused at the door, not bothering to turn around. Save it for the judge, Veronica. Your apologies mean nothing to me. With that, I stepped out into the night, leaving behind the ruins of my old life and embracing the cold certainty of the mission ahead. The journey to Blackwell's Island was a study in stealth and precision. Under the cover of darkness, our team approached an especially modified submersible, its silent engines cutting through the inky water. The weight of my tactical gear was a familiar comfort, each piece of equipment a trusted tool in what promised to be a brutal fight. As we neared the shore, I signaled for the team to surface. One by one, we emerged from the water like wraiths, our black wetsuits blending seamlessly with the night. The island loomed before us, a dark mass against the star-studded sky. Alpha Team, sound off. I whispered into my comm. 4 clicks answered me, each representing a member of my assault squad. Good. Everyone was in position and ready to move. Bravo Team, status? In position and ready to provide overwatch, came the quiet reply. Our snipers were already in place, their high-power rifles trained on key points around the compound. I took a deep breath, centering myself for what was to come. This wasn't just about taking down Blackwell or avenging my own betrayal. It was about stopping a man who had caused untold suffering, who had profited from chaos and death. And I would see it done, no matter the cost. Remember, people, I said, my voice low and steady. Blackwell is the primary target. We want him alive if possible, but don't take any unnecessary risks. Anyone else is expendable. Clear. A chorus of affirmatives answered me. I nodded, satisfied. These were professionals, the best of the best. They understood the stakes. All right, let's move. We advanced through the dense jungle surrounding the compound, our movements silent and purposeful. Years of training kicked in, every sense heightened, alert for the slightest sign of danger. The occasional chirp of a night bird or rustle of leaves in the breeze were the only sounds that broke the eerie stillness. As we neared the perimeter, I held up a fist, signaling the team to halt. Ahead, barely visible in the gloom, was the first line of defense, a high wall topped with razor wire, patrolled by armed guards. I tapped my comm twice, the signal for Bravo Team to take out the sentries. 2 muffled cracks split the air, so quiet they might have been mistaken for breaking branches. The guards crumpled silently, their bodies caught and lowered to the ground by their teammates before they could make a sound. Clear, came the whisper over the comm. We moved forward, scaling the wall with practiced ease. Once over, we split into two-man teams, each heading for a pre-designated entry point. My partner, a former Delta Force operator named Martinez, fell into step beside me as we approached a side entrance to the main building. The lock was no match for Martinez's electronic bypass tool. Within seconds, we were inside, the cool air-conditioned interior a stark contrast to the humid night outside. I signaled for Martinez to take point, covering his advance as we moved deeper into the compound. The intel had been good. The layout matched our briefing perfectly, allowing us to navigate the maze-like corridors with confidence. As we neared the central area where Blackwell was likely to be, the sound of voices reached us, multiple languages, the clinking of glasses. The arms deal was in full swing. I tapped my comm 3 times, the signal to converge and prepare for breach. Within moments, I sensed rather than saw the rest of the team taking up positions around the room. We were in place, ready to spring the trap. On my mark, I whispered. 3, 2, 1, execute. The world exploded into chaos. Flashbangs detonated, filling the room with blinding light and deafening noise. We burst in, weapons at the ready, shouting commands in multiple languages. FBI, on the ground now. Interpol, hands where we can see them. Most of the arms buyers dropped immediately, stunned by the sudden assault. A few tried to resist, reaching for weapons, but were quickly subdued. In the midst of it all, I searched for one-faced Jonathan Blackwell. I spotted him near the back of the room, trying to slip away in the confusion. Not this time, you bastard. I charged forward, dodging panicked arms dealers and flying furniture. Blackwell saw me coming, his eyes widening in recognition and fear. He turned to run, but I was faster. I tackled him hard, driving him to the ground with all my weight behind it. He struggled, landing a solid elbow to my ribs, but I barely felt it through the surge of adrenaline. "It's over, Blackwell," I growled, pinning him face down on the marble floor. "You're done." He continued to thrash, spitting curses in multiple languages. I wrenched his arms behind his back, perhaps with more force than strictly necessary, and slapped on a pair of reinforced cuffs. As I hauled him to his feet, I leaned in close, my voice low and menacing. "You made a big mistake coming after me and my family. I hope it was worth it." The fear in his eyes told me all I needed to know. He had underestimated me, thought he could use Veronica to get to me without consequences. Now, as the reality of his situation sank in, I could see the dawning realization that he had fatally miscalculated. I shoved him towards Martinez, who took custody of the prisoner. Around us, the rest of the team was securing the other arms dealers and gathering evidence. The operation had been a complete success. As the adrenaline began to ebb, I took a moment to survey the scene. Years of work, months of personal anguish, all culminating in this moment. Blackwell's empire was in ruins, his buyers in custody, and a treasure trove of intelligence on global arms trafficking now in our hands. I felt no elation, no sense of triumph, only a grim satisfaction that justice had been served and a dangerous threat neutralized. There would be time for reflection later. For now, there was still work to be done. I keyed my comm, connecting to the task force headquarters. "This is Alpha 1. Target secured. I repeat, Blackwell is in custody. Operation successful." The response was immediate. "Copy that, Alpha 1. Excellent work. Extraction team is en route. Secure the site and prepare for debrief." I acknowledged the order and turned back to the task at hand. The night was far from over, but the hardest part was done. Blackwell was finished, and soon Veronica would face her own reckoning. As I moved through the compound, overseeing the collection of evidence and the processing of prisoners, I allowed myself a small, cold smile. They had tried to destroy me, to use me for their own gain. Instead, they had only sealed their own fates. Let them rot in prison, I thought. Let them live with the knowledge that they had brought this upon themselves. As for me, I had a job to finish and a life to rebuild, and I would do it without a shred of remorse for the choices I had made. The extraction went smoothly. Our team and our prisoners loaded onto waiting helicopters as the first light of dawn began to streak the sky. As we lifted off, I watched Blackwell's island compound recede into the distance, knowing that it would soon be swarming with forensics teams and intelligence analysts, combing through every scrap of information we'd seized. The flight back to the mainland was a blur of fatigue and post-mission adrenaline crash. I managed to catch a few moments of restless sleep, my mind still racing with the events of the past few days. When we touched down at a secure military facility, I was alert and ready for the next phase. Blackwell was whisked away for immediate interrogation. I knew I wouldn't be allowed in the room. Too much personal involvement, but that was fine by me. I had other business to attend to. I made my way to the command center, where the task force leaders were already assembling for a preliminary debrief. As I entered, heads turned, and I saw looks of respect and even a touch of awe on some faces. Good. Let them see what happens when you cross the wrong person. Thorne, the lead agent, a grizzled veteran named Harding, greeted me with a nod. Hell of a job out there. Initial reports are already coming in. Looks like we've got enough to put Blackwell away for multiple lifetimes, not to mention his buyers. I allowed myself a small, grim smile. Good. What about stateside? Any movement on Veronica? Harding's expression turned serious. We've got a team en route to the safe house now. She'll be in custody within the hour. I nodded, feeling a cold satisfaction settle over me. I want to be there when they bring her in. Harding looked like he was about to object, but something in my expression must have changed his mind. All right, but you're strictly hands-off, understand? You've done your part. Let the system handle the rest. I didn't bother to respond. We both knew that the system was often flawed, manipulated by those with money and connections. But I had no intention of taking matters into my own hands. Veronica would face justice, one way or another. The drive to the safe house felt interminable. By the time we arrived, local law enforcement and FBI agents had already secured the perimeter. I stepped out of the SUV, my body aching from the night's exertions, but my mind sharp and focused. As I approached the house, the front door opened. 2 agents emerged, Veronica between them, her hands cuffed behind her back. She looked small, defeated, nothing like the confident woman I had married. When she saw me, her eyes widened in a mixture of fear and something else, resignation, perhaps. I stopped a few feet away, my face impassive. It's over, Veronica. Blackwell's in custody. His entire operation has been dismantled. She said nothing for a long moment, just stared at me with those hollow eyes. Finally, she spoke, her voice barely above a whisper. What happens now? Now! I felt a surge of cold anger. Now you face the consequences of your actions. Treason, espionage, conspiracy. I hope it was worth it. Veronica's shoulders slumped. Dominic, save it. I cut her off. I don't want to hear your excuses or your apologies. You made your choice. Now live with it. I turned away, unable to look at her any longer. As the agents led her to a waiting car, I heard her call out one last time. Dominic, please. I'm sorry. For everything. I didn't turn back. Her words meant nothing to me now. The woman I had loved, the life we had built together. It was all ashes now, destroyed by her greed and betrayal. As the car drove away, I felt a weight lift from my shoulders. It wasn't over. There would be trials, debriefings, endless paperwork, but the worst was behind me. I had survived, had turned the tables on those who sought to destroy me, and I had done it without compromising who I was. Harding approached, a look of grudging respect on his weathered face. You did good, Thorne. Not many could have pulled this off. I nodded, accepting the compliment for what it was. What's next? He raised an eyebrow. Next, you've got about a mountain of paperwork to get through. Then I'd suggest a long vacation. You've earned it. I shook my head. I don't need a vacation. I need to get back to work. Harding studied me for a long moment, then nodded. All right, I'll see what I can do. But Thorne, take some time to process all this. It's been one hell of a ride. As he walked away, I stood there, watching the sun climb higher in the sky. Process it? There was nothing to process. I had done what needed to be done, nothing more, nothing less. Veronica and Blackwell had made their choices, and now they would face the consequences. As for me, I was ready for whatever came next. The betrayal had cut deep, but it had also freed me. No more divided loyalties. No more secrets eating away at me. I was a weapon, honed and primed, ready to be aimed at the next threat. The following weeks were a blur of debriefings, court appearances, and endless meetings with lawyers. I provided all the evidence I had gathered against Veronica, ensuring that she would face the full weight of her crimes. The divorce proceedings were swift and merciless. I made sure she wouldn't see a dime of our shared assets. Throughout it all, I remained focused, driven. There was no room for doubt or regret. Veronica and Blackwell had made their choices, and now they were facing the consequences. As for me, I was already looking ahead, ready for the next challenge. Months passed, and slowly, the dust began to settle. I found myself in a new apartment in Rome, the eternal city a fitting backdrop for this new chapter in my life. The events of the past year had changed me, hardened me in ways I was still discovering. But I had also found a strange sort of peace. It was a quiet evening when my phone rang, the secure line I kept for official business. I answered without hesitation. Thorne. The voice on the other end was familiar. My handler from the agency. We've got a situation brewing in Buenos Aires. Need someone with your particular skill set. You interested? I felt a surge of anticipation, the familiar thrill of a new mission. Details, classified, need to know basis only. But I can tell you it's big, potentially bigger than Blackwell. I didn't hesitate. I'm in. When do I leave? Wheels up in 6 hours. I'll send a car. As I packed my go bag, I caught a glimpse of myself in the mirror. The man staring back at me was different from the one who had stumbled upon his wife's betrayal all those months ago. Harder, colder perhaps, but also more focused, more certain of his place in the world. I was no longer weighed down by secrets and divided loyalties. The betrayal had cut deep, but it had also set me free. Now, I was living as my true self, a warrior, a protector, a force to be reckoned with. As I boarded the plane to Buenos Aires, I felt a sense of anticipation building. Whatever challenges lay ahead, I was ready to face them head-on. My past was behind me, the lessons learned etched into my very being. And my future? It was wide open, full of possibilities and purpose. The plane taxied down the runway, gathering speed for takeoff. As we lifted into the air, I settled back into my seat, a small, determined smile playing at the corners of my mouth. The game was afoot once more, and this time I was playing for keeps. Veronica's betrayal, Jonathan's attempt to murder me was past. I emerged victorious in that battle, and the future seems bright and hopeful. This is where our story comes to an end. Share your thoughts in the comment section. Thanks for your time. If you enjoy this story, please subscribe to this channel. Click on the video you see on the screen, and I will see you there.